Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Tanner, aka the Real Conspiracy Hippie. I'm coming at you guys with some breaking news that I found regarding the Hunter Biden laptop situation. So I know I've been talking about this on my podcast for the last couple weeks, saying I'm going to get into this in more detail. Well, a lot of this stuff is being covered by mainstream media, or it's very easy to look and find on the internet. But I found some stuff that no one's talking about. This is major news. This is probably the most damning evidence that could be found in regards to the situation. You're not going to see Fox talking about this. You're not going to see Newsmax talking about this. You're definitely not going to hear your QAnon weird cousin talking about this. So make sure you listen to this video. It's going to be very quick, very brief. This is not a podcast. This is just a fun YouTube video. So just make sure you watch the whole thing. Before I get too deep in it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. If you subscribe, you can get all the notifications. I do podcasts every Wednesday, so you'll be notified when they're up. And on top of that, whenever I drop a new YouTube video, you'll be notified as well. So I recommend you check that out. You can also follow me on Instagram at The Real Conspiracy Hippie, or follow me on Twitter at TRC Hippie. My Twitter's fucking hilarious. I assure you guys, it's worth the follow for just the political memes alone. I roast Trump, I roast Biden, I roast AOC. I do it all. So check me out on social media at the very least. Guys, for those of you who aren't aware of the Hunter Biden story, I'm going to break it down to you guys very simply. Before I get into that, I want to reflect a little bit on his character. While I don't judge anybody, and nor do I care what you've done in your past, I've seen a lot of people try to discredit the entirety of the story by saying, why would anyone do what he did? Two reasons. One, he's a crack addict. Crackheads do weird shit. Go down to your local 7-Eleven. You'll see them literally dancing to no music, holding up a cardboard sign, wearing last year's summer track outfit that they stole from a Ross parking lot. So that right there is a big reason why he did this weird ass shit that I'm about to go into. Second reason is his character is pretty flawed. This is a person who was dishonorably discharged from the military. He is not the best person overall. And again, while I don't care nor am I judging him, it should be a good factor and something that allows you to kind of process this without questioning everything of how would he do this and why would he do this. So I'm going to break down this the best I can in the most simplistic way possible. Keep in mind everything I just mentioned as well. Hunter Biden was on a pretty lengthy crack bender. From what we know about his information, what we found in the laptop, and what his own family has said as well. And I know Joe said he's clean now, which he states he is clean. Good for him, but this was not during his sobriety. This was prior. Hunter Biden, in April 12, 2019, walks into a Delaware Mall laptop repair facility and brings in 3 water-damaged laptops. John Paul Mackelsack, which is the most unfortunate last name I've ever heard. I can only imagine what they called Mackelsack through his entire childhood. And I know if that was my kid, I would bully him until he didn't leave the house. He is the owner of this repair facility. So remember that name, Mackelsack, because it's fucking hilarious. He instantly said that Hunter Biden was very intoxicated, and he could tell that he was definitely on some substances, and he was not even remotely sober, and he was being very strange. So he leaves 3 water-damaged laptops with Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden leaves 3 water-damaged laptops with John Paul Mackelsack. John fixes the laptops. 2 of them were repairable. 1 of them was completely fried. It was beyond repair, nothing he could do. So everyone knows that it's common knowledge, if you take a laptop to a repair facility and you do not pick the laptop up and you sign a contractual agreement with them when you drop your stuff off, they will clean your laptop out, wipe the hard drive, and sell it. This is standard procedure everywhere in the country. It's the same thing with an auto body shop. If you take your car to an auto shop and they fix stuff on your car and you never pick it up, they put what's called a mechanic's lien on your vehicle. That's the same concept. A bunch of people are saying, why would they clear these laptops? Why would Mackelsack or Mackeldick or whatever try to sell these laptops? Guys, this is standard operating procedure. Go ask a crackhead who's stolen a laptop and taken it to a repair facility. I can assure you that's probably happened to them. So again, Hunter Biden lives in Los Angeles. This happened in Delaware. He drops the laptops off. 2 out of the 3 are fixed. Hunter goes back home from Delaware to Los Angeles. Never answers his phone. So this goes on for about 4 to 5 months. Now, Mackelsack knew who Hunter Biden was, clearly, because they had talked. So he realized, hey, these are pretty important laptops. I can't just wipe these and get rid of them. So he continued trying to reach out and was unable to reach Hunter Biden for months. Most likely because he was probably laying in his room doing just loads of crack because he's a crackhead. And this is what crackheads do. They do weird shit like drop laptops off at a repair facility at a mall and disappear for the rest of their life. I keep seeing people trying to discredit that this story ever happened. We've proved the story happened. There's camera footage showing him entering this facility. Macklesack's come out and said all this happened. They're not denying the laptops being at the facilities. But they're trying to deny that there's damning information on the laptops. And to be quite frankly, no one from the left's even bothering denying this because no one's talking about it. This is not a big deal in this country. So that's the story as a whole. Hunter Biden's cracked out, drops the laptops off, they get fixed, doesn't pick them up. John Macklesack has to wipe them, realizes he can't necessarily wipe them, keeps trying, no answer, and this is how we get to where we are. At this point in time, it's been about 7 months. Macklesack realizes he has to, God, I love saying the name Macklesack, so say it with me. Macklesack realizes he has to do something and he has to sell them, part of their contractual agreement. So he goes to wipe them and he makes sure he's extra careful because, again, he understands who the laptops belong to, and being the patriot that he is, does not want to give out any information to the wrong hands. As he's wiping them, he starts going through and realizing, oh my God, there is a lot of very, very crucial evidence on this. Now, if you're like me and you're a normal human who's not on a crack bender, you're not going to give a laptop to a repair facility that has super intelligent information on it, from everything from government contacts all the way to personal business information. You're just not going to. But if you're tweaked out, anything's possible. As he's going through the information, there's a lot of things that have been found, a lot of things that have been talked about. This evidence has been turned over to the FBI. It's also been turned over to Rudy Giuliani as well. There's two very specific things I'm going to talk about that he found. If you want to look more into this, go online. You can find whatever you want. The first thing is the funniest thing that I could have imagined. A $21,000 bill on cam girls. Hunter Biden is the king of simps. There isn't a simp alive with a bill like that. And the best part, it's through a website called Jasmine. It wasn't a receipt for his transactions. It was a request stating that his credit card was declined and they needed him to pay his funds immediately. This dude chickened out on a $21,000 cam girl bill. God knows how much money he spent. I'm not judging him for doing it. That's fine by me. It's your life. But the only thing lower than scamming people and getting kicked out of the military because you're a crackhead is burning a bunch of sex workers when you have plenty of money. So what a piece of garbage he is. Again, it just reflects on his character, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious, so I had to mention that. Not damning information, nor do I care. It just, again, goes back to who this man is as a person and why he would do a bunch of crack and drop a bunch of laptops off at a mall in Delaware. Because that's who he is. Can't stress this enough. This is the kind of shit people like him do on a daily basis. We all know some weirdo who does shit like this. You have one in your friend group. You have one in your family. So don't sit there and try to act like this is highly impossible, because it's not. We know it's not. And they're not even denying that he dropped these laptops off. So I'm going to get into what I believe to be the most damning of damning information. Beaver Dam style dam. This is insane to me. This isn't being talked about, and I mean this on a very serious level. I'm not even trying to be funny with this. This is super, super sketchy. I found this, and I'll post the links in my YouTube. This is through a UK news source, because everywhere else in the world, this is front page news when this came out about 3-4 months ago. It's continued being front page news all over the world. If you have friends in any part of the world, ask them. I have friends overseas in Australia. I have friends in London, and they're like, hey, what are you guys doing about this laptop? And I'm like, no one's even talking about it. And they were blown away, because this is, every other country loves us. I've talked about it before, where that weird cousin or stepsister who is riddled with herpes and comes to your fucking Halloween party or comes to Thanksgiving or Christmas, and everybody wants to know about her train wreck of a life because she's the most interesting human there. That's America to the rest of the world. So everything we do is on a front page display for everyone to see. And just because we're trying to put news under the way, and try to hide shit under the rug doesn't mean other countries are. So again, when you have to ask yourself like, oh, is this serious? Well, it looks bad on us from other countries because now we have the president-elect's son doing some pretty sketchy shit. Well, what's that sketchy shit? I'm going to dive right into it. April 17th, 2015. At the time, Joe Biden is still the VP of the country. Obama was president. Better days. Hunter Biden had set up a meeting with Ukrainian energy firm to bring Joe Biden with him. What was the meeting about? It was all pretty coded. They were unable to really decipher what the meeting was about. However, and I'll get into further why this is super alarming. You might say, well, who cares? One, Hunter Biden should never, ever, ever discuss business with Joe. That is a direct violation of White House privileges. And Joe knows this. And Joe has come out numerous times and said, we never, ever talked business. This is a lie. And this email proves it. He says, I will be bringing Joe. Now, this meeting, according to sources, never happened. However, you can't even talk about setting this kind of stuff up as a vice president of the United States. So whether Joe had any intention in doing this or not, Hunter sure thought that he did, and he felt the need to really bribe his way into this meeting with this Ukrainian energy plant by bringing Joe. And you're like, why do I care? Why does Hunter care about Ukrainian energy? Well, Hunter is the board member of Burisma, which is a Ukrainian energy company. It's a very large Ukrainian energy company, and he is on the head directors. He's on the board. This is public information, and he knows it, and this is where Joe consistently says, we don't talk about business. Well, clearly they do, and there's information out there. It's right in front of our faces. So, one, why is Hunter meeting with another Ukrainian business company, and how many Ukrainian companies is he dealing with? The Ukraine is not a friend or an ally to us. They're not necessarily an enemy, but they're not people that we need to be doing shady back deal businesses with. So that's alarming in its own right. The other thing that's super sketchy about this is if you're the board member for a Ukrainian energy company and your dad is the vice president and you're bringing him to meet with another Ukrainian energy company, what kind of information might just slip out? Or what are they getting out of you that this is worth it? And and this is so risky. So what was Hunter getting and what was Joe potentially getting that was worth it to risk everything on this? It's just so strange. And maybe you said, hey, I don't think it's a big deal. But it should alarm the fuck out of you that the vice president of the time's son, and he still is on the board for Burisma, so now that Joe's going to be the president, most likely, his son is a board member for one of the largest Ukrainian energy companies, and he's using his power and his status and his father's status to negotiate his way into sketchy back deals with other Ukrainian energy companies. Super scary, super alarming. This was front page news in London about 3 months ago. I didn't even hear about this, and I do this shit all day, every day. Read and watch videos and constantly look at news and try to keep you guys updated. So the fact that this slipped by me and tons of other people is super, super scary. And again, a lot of people come and said, Tanner, I just don't care. It's your country, it's your choice. Yeah, you don't have to care about this, but it should be shocking. Now, I want to get into one last thing here before I wrap this up. Tony Bubalinsky, another very fun name. So we've got Mackelsack, we've got Bubalinsky. Horrendous names, but very serious nonetheless. He was Hunter Biden's former business partner. And he recently came out to the FBI as a whistleblower saying, hey, listen, we did some stuff that we shouldn't have done. And I'm a patriot and I refuse to let this happen. If you don't know who Tony Bubalinsky is, he is a ex-Marine. He was a vet. I want to say he was a Marine or Air Force, but he's a veteran. He's a patriot. And he worked with the Bidens. He worked with other Democratic parties. He's not necessarily affiliated with politics, but everyone he's worked with or done business, whether it be private security or just business deals in general, he has been on the Democratic side. He's a real Democrat. He's not like these new socialist Democrats we see. He's a standard Democrat, and he loves his country nonetheless. He came out recently and said, hey, listen, we've done some stuff we shouldn't have, and I know about stuff that shouldn't have happened. His big thing, and you can find this video online, I'll try to post the link in this YouTube as well, is he talks about how Joe knew about Hunter and the other Biden's involvement in a company called Cytohawk. Cytohawk is a Chinese investment company that handles business management and business development. It's a shell company. It's not real from what I understand, from what Bobulinski said and from what you can find online. Essentially, it was a fake company set up to transfer funds. Bobulinski realized this after about a year and said, hey, listen, we're not doing any development. Why are they paying us? And what do they expect us to do? And this kept being shushed and shushed. Now, Bobulinski goes on to say that Joe knew about this and that Hunter had talked about business with Joe in front of Joe numerous times. And he continued to stress that this was a very, very alarming situation. I don't find this to be as damning as the stuff I mentioned earlier with Burisma and the other Ukrainian energy companies, but it's very strange that they were working with shell companies and that their top business partner who had the opportunity to do whatever he wanted to make a bunch of money felt the need to come out. Now, we don't have a ton of information yet. Tony Bobulinski has been with the FBI. He turned in 3 phones over the course of about 5.5 years, full of text messages. He turned in thousands of emails, encrypted codes, and he's been with them for a hot minute, just going over all the information. Will it ever go anywhere? I don't know. It's the same thing when Macklesack turned in the evidence to the FBI about Hunter Biden's laptop. It went nowhere until Rudy Giuliani got the information, and of course, then it became a political tactic. And then you saw the New York Post try to ban all that stuff and whatnot. That's where we've seen a lot of censorship come from. I'm not here to argue censorship. I'm not here to say I'm conservative or I'm liberal. I don't care. I'm just here to bring you facts that I think are super fucking scary and super alarming. At this point, this is the only updated information we have, and these are things that people aren't talking about still. I'm sure 4 or 5 years from now, this will come out and be a somewhat big deal. There we go. That's that. So maybe it makes you rethink some stuff. I've noticed there's been a big fan grouping for Hunter Biden. He's not a hill you want to die on, I assure you. He's a garbage human. And while I absolutely respect anybody who's taking control of their life and getting sober, I think that's very noble of him and I respect it. He's still a garbage human being. He's definitely just a shady business person. He's got no problem screwing over his own father, screwing over the country. Just what it is. It's what I see. Again, guys, this was breaking news worldwide. This was all over front pages everywhere you look. It just hasn't been talked about here because people don't want to talk about it. I mean, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions on this. Go ahead in the comments. If you think I'm being obnoxious or you think I'm just stating stuff that's not that serious, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe I'm overlooking at it, but I just think it's so sketchy. And while I don't personally think Joe is doing anything sketchy with this information, I just think if your kid is being this level of dishonest, you have to know about it. And you can't just let this ride out. Joe can't be the president of this country with his son doing back alley deals with Ukrainian energy companies and using shell companies like Cytohawk to launder money from China to the U.S. There's just no way. And it's too incriminating in my opinion. So that's that. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinion. Like I said, I was going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to try to drop a few more of these with some fun stuff. I want to break down Trump's taxes and things like that as well, so that way I'm not always targeting the left. Again, I'm pretty non-biased. I don't really lean one way or the other. That's what I got. I'm covering all the non-media news. I'm covering the stuff that's important. Be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. You can follow me on Instagram at The Real Conspiracy Hippie. You can follow me on Twitter at TRC Hippie. Guys, I do a podcast every Wednesday. I have YouTube videos of the podcast up with my friends on YouTube, and then I have audio-only versions as well on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Again, I'm Tanner, The Real Conspiracy Hippie, and have a good one, guys.